Hello, everybody, and welcome to My EdTech Live. I am your host, Fonz Mendoza, otherwise known as Tech Teacher 1381, and I want to thank you guys for joining us today on this spectacular show. We've got an amazing guest coming up that I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and many of you may already know who she is just by looking at her. You know it. That's right. It is Miss Leban. All right. She is here with us. She is awesome. And today she's going to talk to us about just some amazing projects that she's been working on. And if you don't even know, and now you know, she is a Google Innovator. So she will be talking about her Google Innovator project, but she's also now a book illustrator as well. And really, there isn't anything that Miss Leban can't do. All right. So I'm really excited that she is here with us today. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here this morning here in Texas, still afternoon over there in the East Coast. And I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Bruce, and I was just saying, you know what, there's just something in the water, somewhere like, everybody kind of in that area headed towards the east and everything. It's just a lot of, talent that's up there. And so I'm just really thankful that you're here with us today, joining us and just sharing just your expertise, sharing yourself, and just, allowing people to get to know you. So Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you. Just go ahead and just introduce yourself to our audience that may not know you.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you so much. That was a very glowing introduction. I never quite feel like worthy of. I'm not that far to the east. I'm in the Chicago suburbs, so I'm kind of Midwesty, but yeah, compared to Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
I hear you. I feel ya. Yeah, so my name is Jen Leban. I have a interesting educational journey. I started out about 20 years ago teaching visual arts at the middle school. So started out as an art teacher, got my master's degree, did national board certification for visual arts. So of all the areas, the year I got it, it was like 5 math teachers and me. So it was kind of interesting. And one of the things about me is that I get bored kind of easily. And I love art. I love making art, but when you teach middle school, you can only teach like color mixing so many times before it gets a little stale. Like you try and you try and you try, and I would certainly do all the things I could, but I was hitting like year 13 and I was like, I need something else. And I was very interested in tech. So one of the things that I did was I went back to school again. Already had my master's degree, but went back again for my technology specialist endorsement, which is like an endorsement on your license in the state of Illinois so that you can be like a tech coach or something like that. And unfortunately, that didn't end up happening for me because by the time my district even created that sort of position, it was like there and gone in a flash. So we don't even have tech coaches. We just have instructional coaches. I think a lot of districts have kind of done that over the years, but I know in my district, it's very focused on like reading and math. And since I'm not a reading or math person, I'm an arts and tech person, it's hard to find where I fit. So my principal at the middle school offered me the job of the like computer applications teacher. And at first I said, heck no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to teach typing and keyboarding and Office. And she was like, well, we're going one-to-one Chromebooks, so we're going to have to redo the curriculum. And you'll have a lot of freedom. And you can do a lot of those creative, like kind of, graphic kind of arts. I know you like video and things like that. And I was like, this could be kind of cool. So I took the position, did that for about 6-ish years, 7, I don't know how long. It starts to blend together after a certain point. But what ended up happening was this summer, I got a phone call from one of the elementary principals. I'm in a unit district, so we go from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. One of the elementary principals was like, hey, our library media specialist is leaving and we have an opening and I've got this idea. Would you be interested in coming over and kind of helping us with the whole future ready library thing, makerspace, and stuff like, and I was like, heck yes, I would. That sounds amazing. So I am actually making the jump after 20 years to elementary library. So go figure. I think the kids are going to be just as weirded out by me as I will with them. It's going to be a little bit of a shock for all of us at first, but it's a little sad too. It's a little melancholy. Number one, I love my middle school staff and I miss them so much. I still talk to them. So Sandburg Middle School, I love you. But also like the ideas I had for the library right now with COVID, it's like that can't happen. And so there's like sadness, a little bit of mourning for what like I wanted to do. And now it's just so, what's the word? So like, I don't know, changed or different. The possibilities compared to what I wanted to do are so different and so in conflict with each other that it's frustrating and sad. It's disappointing, but all things considered, we're going to do the best that we can with what we have. And I'm sure it will still be great. I have very high expectations of myself all the time. So so it's usually okay. Yeah.
And I'm sure you will do great. I mean, just with the work that you've done, it's funny that you mentioned that. Like earlier today, I wrote a post, and it was just learning how to adapt and overcome. That is something that as educators and pretty much anybody during this time has had to do. But in education, I know that for the last 15 years that I've been in education, and even prior to that, those words were given to me and shared with me by a friend of mine, and they never left me. And it was always adapt and overcome. He was a former Marine, and that's what he said that they would do. They would just say adapt and overcome. And that doesn't, I mean, it rings so true today, with the way things are going, and just being able to on the fly adapt. And and now you're making that change. And I remember making the change from high school to elementary, and I was like, wow, this is going to be very different. And I was like, well, ninth graders and sixth graders, they pretty much behave the same. It's just the age difference. But then you get to know that as the younger they are, because then I went to fifth grade, and those were some of the best years in fifth grade. Fifth and sixth grade. I don't know what it was. It was just I just really connected there with the students, and it was just so cool because they accepted you're crazy, because we were all crazy together, and we were just able to learn from one another and all that good stuff. So it was really exciting.
Yeah. When I first started teaching, I was like, I want to be a high school art teacher. And I thought like that was the thing to do, because I loved art. I wanted to teach kids that were serious about art, and still, I think it's when I talk to art teachers in high school, I'm like, that's an awesome job, because you really get to delve into what you love. But when I got thrown into middle school, I actually just really, I loved it. I was really worried about it, because you always think like middle school, like, oh, they're going to have like attitudes, whatever, but they're so lovable. They're this weird dichotomy of like wanting to be grown up and sophisticated and cool, but also wanting to be little kids and like sit down and have you read a book to them. So I love that. And now with like these little ones, I think I'm going to especially love it, because I think that they're more likely to laugh at my jokes. Where middle schoolers sometimes are just like, I am not impressed, Mrs. Leban. Yeah. My favorite was I had painted the back wall of my classroom with like black chalkboard paint, and one of my eighth graders walked in and she's like, Mrs. Leban, did you paint the wall black? And I was like, yeah. Well, she goes, why'd you do that? And I go, well, I painted it black, like my soul. And I was waiting for her to laugh, and she just looks at me and goes, you're so edgy.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh my God, come on. Where I know. They put you in your place. You know what I mean? It was just
they do.
It's funny, and she's a sweet kid. I love her. So she wasn't like trying to be disrespectful, but it was very like middle school, like, get over yourself. You're not cool. I was like, that message received. Wah, wah.
Yeah, that's the way they are. But it's like you said, it's a lot of fun. And, I wish you the best with this transition, because I think you're really going to enjoy it. And just like I said, just with what you bring to the table, just to be able to adapt what you were doing in middle school and bring it down to elementary, and then just being able to get more creative, because now it's like, wait a minute, well, it's elementary. Now I've got younger kids. And then, I'm in elementary, maybe from kinder all the way on. And now you're going to have to gear, things towards them. And that's really, I think, going to get your creative juices flowing, and you're going to be doing some awesome stuff there for sure.
Absolutely. Because for many of them, this will be their first like tech experience in a school, because there isn't a separate tech class. So like library, makerspace, like that's all one. Like I actually have a separate room that's a makerspace. So like I have two classrooms. Awesome. I know. I just need like a month. I need a month with like a bunch of paint and nothing else to do except like get the rooms ready, which isn't going to happen. But like, I just have these dreams of like what I could do with it. But again, we're going to make do with what we have right now. I'm starting small with the library. Yesterday I went in and my goal was just to set up the desk area, and I did it. Good job.
There you go. Baby steps, baby steps. But
Seriously,
that's so
baby
cool
steps.
though that you've got that extra room. It's almost like, to me, I think like, oh, that's the lab. That's like the creation lab and everything. And I could just see so many things going on there that is just going to be amazing. So that's awesome.
There's a whole green wall. It's going to be great.
There you go. I was going to be like, once you put your edge to it, it's going to be legit. That's going to be awesome.
It'll be really sweet. I'm excited. I mean, it's going to take longer than maybe I would want because I'm impatient. But it'll get there and it'll be pretty awesome. It's going to be fun.
That's awesome. So Jennifer, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your Innovator project, right? All right. Tell us a little bit about that. Give us a little bit of, actually, if you don't mind sharing with our audience, now, and thank you to Google as well. Now I got selected also to be part of this amazing group of innovators, and it's just amazing. And I'd just love to hear your experience through your lens, so our audience members can know what that's about and your experiences working on your project. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. First of all, I am so excited for you because like Innovator is life changing, and I think that when I did it, I really didn't know what I was getting into. I'm national board being kind of like the classic example for me. If you give me something and you say teachers can earn this thing, I'm such like a nerd. Like when I was in school, that if you give me like that carrot and you dangle it, I'm like, yes, I can get that. Like I just need to, if it's there, I need to get it. So I did that. And then I found out about like the Google certified programs. So I did level 1, I did level 2. And then I was like, I've been teaching tech for a couple of years now. Maybe I could do this. And I just threw it out there into the universe. Now I did have, there's another teacher. We actually have a few innovators in my school district. I'm very lucky. One of them is my close friend, Ben Hartman. He really helped me. He watched my video and like critiqued it, and I re-edited it like 50 times. He read my application. We redid it a bunch of times. So I did have a lot of help. I have to admit that, you don't do it alone. And I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. I remember telling like our curriculum director, like the last day of school, like, well, I applied for the Innovator program, so I don't really know what my, summer's going to be like, but I fully expected to like not get it. I was like, I didn't want to get too excited. You don't want to get your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I remember I was in my basement and there was a tweet from David Chan, who was one of the coaches in our cohort. And it said like, congratulations to blah, 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 and listed a bunch of like Chicago area educators. And I got the alert on that and I go, oh my God, I said to my husband, I'm like, what does this mean? What does this mean? And I went and checked my email, and sure enough, it was like the congratulations. And I was like, oh my God. So I was in the LAX 18. So summer of 2018, LA, we were like right on Venice Beach. We got to be at the Google offices. It was incredible. Like 3 days of just, I think the thing that really hit me, because it was a very pivotal moment in my career. I was feeling very burnt out. I was feeling like very like, I don't know, like, I'm going to say like unappreciated. I felt like I felt like I had more to offer, and I was just like kind of stuck in the basement in my classroom. And to have some outside source kind of like validate your work as a professional. And then when like I say, I really didn't know what I was getting into. So it wasn't until I showed up and I met all these other people, and they were like excited like I was, and they enjoyed doing the same things that I did. And like, you wouldn't know this to like see me on video here, but in real life, I'm very introverted. Like I will like shut the door. Quarantine is like kind of okay with me. Yeah, I get my groceries delivered. I'm like, I don't want to be out there. But so it was a little bit of a shock, but at the same time, I met all these other people that were like me, and it felt so like welcoming and wonderful. And like, I felt like I was with my people, and I didn't have to feel ashamed to like be excited about teaching, like, which is weird. But in some of our real life experiences, we work in districts with a very wide variety of people. And there are people that are like us that are, excited about doing things and new projects. And then every district has the teachers that are like, oh, not her again, oh, gotta hear from Jen again. You know what I mean? Like that sort of a thing. So what it does is it's very middle school. It makes you very self-conscious, and sometimes you don't want to speak up and you don't want to throw out like the new ideas because you're like, nobody else is going to be excited about this like I am. So to be in a group where everybody was like yes-anding you, and like it was just this amazing, like, there are people like this that are excited. And that's, I think, what is so wonderful about the Innovator program is it's literally just like the networking and finding out that you're not alone, and you don't have to be like a full-on extrovert, like, yeah, always the life of the party. Like they made us do like some weird improv things that I was like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom and get out of here, so they definitely pushed me outside my comfort zone. But in the end, it was so valuable, and I'm so grateful for it. And it's so like the experience, it really changed me, because I don't think I could talk like this on a camera before that. So it's just like it really did. It gave me a lot of confidence that like, and I still suffer from imposter syndrome, and I think we all do. Like I'm listening to your introduction and I'm like, does he know who he's talking to? Yeah. Like but there's that little bit of like, yeah, we all have something really cool to offer, and it's just having those people tell us like that it's okay to share and it's okay to lead, and that just because you don't always say the right thing, or you're not always perfect, or you get told, you're so edgy, by a kid, that you're still okay. Like we make mistakes, and we'll say stupid things, and we'll do stupid things all the time. But ultimately, we all have something wonderful to offer, and it's just kind of getting that courage to put it out there.
Yeah. And I think that's wonderful though. And that's what I'm excited about, because like you said, oftentimes you're surrounded in your workspace with people that just don't get it, or they just don't understand because they come from different areas, different backgrounds, and things of that sort. And I'm one of those that, my wife and everybody tells me, it's like, you always dream so big. Like you always put so like huge goals. And I think I had Toby Doncaster here, and he's an innovator also. And he's like, man, and he goes, Alfonso, it's like your visions and everything, you just so big. And I said, yeah, but it's like, to me, it doesn't just seem impossible. It's not like I'm just dreaming things up and saying like making lofty goals. It's like, no, it's like, I know I can go ahead and do it, because it's just all about adapting and overcoming. So that's what I'm excited about in Innovator too, that there are other people that are like that. Not everybody may be like that, but there's going to be other people like me, or there's going to be other people that are more reserved. But all I want to take a little bit of all the good that every single one of them has, and I just want to put it all together, mix it up for myself, and come up with a formula that's going to work for me, because that's just the way that I've always been. And the premise of the show, I tell everybody, I bring people on the show that have influenced me in a way and that I have learned from, because I want people to learn from them as well and see how great they are. And so that's why I never have any questions. It's like, hey, you're in the spotlight. You share what you want. You tell everybody the great things that you're doing, because everybody deserves a platform, because sometimes we don't get to express ourselves that way at work, or people, they just don't get it. Like, and we're just different type of people. I mean, we can work all well together and everything, but I just love bringing people on that have influenced me, that I've been looking at. I followed you on Twitter way before I even got to meet you, in webcams. And I think Rachel Kothup is here also. Same thing. We had been following ourselves on Instagram. And then all of a sudden we're like in global GEG together. And now we're working on projects, and she was on the show, and she's doing some amazing things with Badge Edge Tech, and she's an innovator as well. And so it's just amazing, like you said, the connections and what you're learning from one another. And that's really exciting, because today we get to meet all together, and I'm just so excited about starting the Innovator program.
Yeah, that's what's so like that Innovator thing is like, you're not alone. There are other people like you. It's okay to be nerdy and excited about, teaching. It's like, it almost sends you back to like when you first started teaching, and you were, how like we're all so excited. And so like in our brains, we just have these like goals, these lofty goals of what we're going to do and change the world. And then very slowly we get beat down to a pulp. It kind of sparks that back up again, and but with that comes that wisdom of our teaching. So not only does it kind of spark that like inspiration, but it's with the experience behind it that we know like what's, I'm going to say realistic, but maybe that's not it, because sometimes we have unrealistic ideas. Sometimes we know what's maybe attainable, or like what levels are attainable. But I think through doing that, we find out that there's even more. Like, so we start small, and then we're like, wait, this thing I thought that wasn't possible could be possible, and yeah, I started out just following people that I thought looked fun on Twitter. It actually started when I taught art, because I was the only art teacher in the building. There are no other art teachers for me to talk to. So if you were on Twitter and it said you were an art teacher, I followed you. I didn't care who you were. I just wanted to find other people that did what I did to get ideas. And then, start doing more tech stuff, then started following more tech people and getting it. And then you start to see, like, you start reading even more, and you're like, oh, these people are from my area. And you start like local stuff. But it's just amazing how it's brought everybody together, and your world does become so small. Because the other day I was on probably a couple weeks ago, I was on a chat, and I was in the kitchen making dinner or something, and my husband walks by, and I was like, oh yeah, this person's in the UK, this one's in Australia, Luis is in Colombia. I'm like, yeah, and then I don't know if it was Steph or somebody go, they're in Ohio, and my husband started laughing, because I'm like all over the world, like in this conversation, and we were just talking about randomness, and it was just weird how your world like shrinks but also grows at the same time.
Yes. Yeah. No, I totally get that. So Jen, tell us a little bit more about your innovator projects.
Yeah. So when I was at LAX 18, the very first thing we did was we got to visit the YouTube offices in LA. And it was like, it's cool. And I had no idea that it would have anything to do with my innovator project. I just thought it was really neat. And we got to see like just the impact that like YouTube has had, and like the creators and the importance of content creation and everything. And it was just so neat to see and experience it. And they gave us a tour, and we got to see like the rooms and the different studios and the different recordings and things. And that was the very first thing we did. Then we went to the Google offices, and we had the whole innovator, like workshops and everything. So my original idea was like, how do we, I'm trying to think of how to word this. Mine was very like culture focused in like education. And it was like, how do you get teachers to kind of embrace the idea of like, not just like failure, but it's okay to be imperfect. It's not okay to have it all together. You can just dive in and do things. How do we get teachers to basically be role models in the way, like we expect our kids to try new things all the time. That's what we're doing. Every time we teach them something, we're hitting them with something new. And we want them to do it knowing that they're going to fail, or they might not get it the first time. But like we ourselves are so afraid to do that, because like we don't want to look like not the expert, or not, I don't know. I'll use the word perfect, but I don't know if that's exactly it either. So I was like, well, how do we get teachers to embrace that,
I was going to say, maybe like you don't want to seem or make yourself vulnerable. I think sometimes. I think that's one thing that I learned, kind of going with what you're saying, it takes a while, but I always like, if I didn't know something and I just felt that vulnerability, I just rolled with it. And just because I shared with students like, hey, I don't know it all, and I think oftentimes it's like, we want to, pose like we know it all, this is the right way and everything, but it's okay to be vulnerable. And like you said, just not really have it together, because sometimes we don't.
And that's the thing. And teaching is such a personal profession. Like if you make yourself vulnerable, if you show weakness, then there's this belief that like you're not a good teacher. And I really want to fight that, because, and it's hard because we're already getting slammed so much, and we're being told like, stop being weak and get back to work, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what? I'm sorry, I don't want to die. What, is that too much to ask? And every little thing is looked at us so critically that it's hard to like on purpose put ourselves in that vulnerable spot and leave us open to even more of that criticism. So I absolutely understand it. But I think that I'm like doing this because it's in my head. The fact that I get bored so easily, I know I can't live in that like safety zone, that I have to like try those new things and kind of get like I got this new website or new thing, and we're just going to jump in and we're going to try it. And a lesson goes terribly. And then the next day I say, you know what, that seemed like that didn't work very well. Or, hey, what I told you didn't work, but Jimmy found out something really awesome that does work. So I will show him, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. I'm okay with that. It didn't, happen overnight. It's definitely something you have to kind of get your feet wet, but that's ultimately the thing that I think helped pull me out of that kind of teacher burnout place that I was before I got to Innovator. So getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, coupled with that Innovator kind of mindset, was the thing that pulled me out of that hole of like, I want to leave teaching. This is terrible and awful, and I'm not fulfilled with this anymore. So my goal of my Innovator project is a very long, I'm back, is to kind of help teachers. What I called is hit their reset button. I have a son, he's 8 years old, he's in 3rd grade. And when he was younger and we were kind of going through like 4 or 5-year-old, like little temper tantrum thing, which we still experience. One of the things we used to tell him when he was getting really upset is we'd go, hit your reset button, stop, take a deep breath, hit your reset. And it was literally like, he would like hit it, like, it didn't do anything, but it was like that signal, that physical signal to like hit your reset button. And of course, it's also a play on the whole technology, like, did you try turning it off and back on again? So it was just so like full circle. It was like me as a parent, it was me as an educator, it was like a technology fix, it was all those things. So that's where the name like Reset came from, and then EDU, so that people know that it's specific to education. So it was like, how do you reset yourself in education when you're encountered with different things? And I think my original idea was that people would come to me with like their problems or their situations, and we would help solve it. I'd be like an advice person. So that was my original idea. But also, and this has not left my dream, I want to become the Gordon Ramsay of teachers. I want to be able to walk into somebody's school and go, this is terrible, and just like smack everything up and like fix stuff. Nobody will ever let me do that. But that's my 10x goal, is that someone's going to hire me to do their TV show, and I'm gonna be like, this sucks, here's why, and I'm gonna like redo things, and they're gonna be like, this is so great, and our profits have gone up, and like the bar rescue of
the
teachers.
rescue,
That's my grand goal. So in the meantime, very small, it's a YouTube channel, and I put a video up twice a month. Sometimes I do talk to other people. Sometimes I will do my own videos. And they tend to fall into like one of 3 categories. So either they have to do with like curriculum and instruction sorts of things, they have to do with like literally like physical spaces, or the other thing has to do with like more like relationships and dealing with others. I have gotten a little bit into that like whole mindset and mental health thing too, because that is also something that I've straight up like struggled with as well. So not only like the teacher burnout thing, but also as an adult, I learned that I was probably undiagnosed depression, anxiety for most of my life. And now that I've gotten help, and I know not everyone needs medication, I get it, but you know what? I did, and I'm better for it. So one of the things that I do like to talk to people is don't be afraid to get help or to ask for help when you need it. And again, it's not a sign that you're weak. It's not a sign that you're a bad teacher. It's a sign that you're a good teacher, because you are conscious of when you need help, and you're making yourself better in order to help your students become better. That's awesome. My soapbox.
That is awesome. No, but that's great. And see, oftentimes, Jen, it's just people are just scared to really put themselves out there. And the fact that you come here and, you just share your goals, you share what you're going through, you share all of those things. I think that's, whoever's out there today that's listening or will watch this later, this is something for you to know that, hey, we're not all perfect, and don't ever let anybody, if they say like, oh, you're weak, this, no, that's not true, at all whatsoever, So yeah. I love the fact that you're just being very honest, and that can be so refreshing, as sometimes, people just put on the facade and like they've got it together, and then you look at them and people are like, oh, wow, like how do they do it? Like they've got everything together while they're just like in shambles over here trying to, make things work. But in reality, they're in the exact same boat, but they just put on that facade. And, but I'm glad that you're here, just really unmasked. You're being you, you're being true. And that's wonderful, because people need to listen to that and people need to hear that. So thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate that.
Well, no, thank Thank you so much. I mean, I'm almost to the point where I'm like uncomfortably honest with people. Like, how you doing today, Jen? And I'm like, I'm doing terrible. For a while at school, I had those actual like Hulk hands, those like things you would fit over. And every time like the network would go out, I would like go into the hallway and just go, ah! Middle school kids, they loved it.
That is great.
Yeah.
Oh, so Jen, I did put the link into the chat for your website. And so I'm going to go ahead and, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share here. And then you can kind of maybe walk us through it. So this is Jennifer's website, ResetEDU.org. So give it a look-see here and everything. So Jennifer, just walk us through here as far as what we can find or other educators can find here.
Yeah, so this is like, I guess, the main landing page, but most of the content is actually on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
But I felt like just having the channel wasn't enough. I needed to have some sort of home landing page thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, of course I forgot to post the latest video on there because that's me. Yeah, so the latest video up there is actually with Erin Kiger. It was a chat that we had actually back in February. So I had a couple of videos waiting to go before quarantine, and then like quarantine hit. And I mean, like everybody else, it was just so overwhelming. Like I took a break for like months, and I think I came back in July, and that's where the "Where did you go?" video is from. But I have started back up again because I'm like, you know what? I need to get back into the swing of things. I need to do that. So I brought up my video with Erin that was all about like how to balance like that family work-life balance, mental health things, which is interesting. I have another video coming up with Kyle Nemes of Classroom Q, and we talk about it's just funny because these older conversations I had, like watching them back and looking at them, I'm like, oh my God, they're so relevant even to right now. So that's interesting. And then another video I plan to have up soon. She doesn't know it, but I think she's watching. But Valerie, who I didn't write the book. I illustrated the book. Valerie wrote the book. But I am planning on doing a video with her, hopefully to put out on our release date of the book, which is September 1st. So.
Yes, that's awesome. She was here in the chat. I did post a couple of comments and everything. So that's wonderful that she's here. And I'm looking forward to that also. So that's awesome.
So yeah, Valerie, I'm going to call you.
Now, I have seen your videos and I just love, like I said, it's just the message. It's just, and like I said, at the very first time, and it was very similar to what you were saying. It's like I was on Instagram and then I started posting up a lot of stuff while I was in the classroom. And then I was like, just like you, kind of like, hey, let me look for some people that are cool. And then I was just like, put like and started following and everything. And then that's how this right here, your logo really just stuck with me. And then, so I was like, okay, like, and then when I was like, hey, like she's on Twitter, when I started being more active on Twitter, followed you on Twitter. And then now it's like, wow, you're on the show here. And that's amazing. So that's just so wonderful, and like I said, and guys out there watching, this is the whole point of just being connected educators, being here on the show. It's just, the show really is just connecting one educator or educators one show at a time, and, bringing on some fabulous people that are doing some amazing things, just like Jennifer. And so check out her page, guys, here at ResetEDU. Again, we did have that landing page right here. All right, where you can get some info and even contact info. But like she said, all the main content will be here on her YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and check that out, guys. And so, Jen, anything else that you love to share with? Actually, I do want to share something, because you are an amazing, like if people are not familiar with what you do, I really appreciated the fact that you shared this right here, the green screen tutorials. So this is just so awesome because, both Jen and I are also WeVideo ambassadors. So guys, for those of you that are interested in doing some amazing things, I'm going to go ahead and just pop that link in here too. You can find this Google site with amazing green screen tutorials. And I must say that I have learned a lot from these tutorials, that I've even put some of this into practice, with our district as well. So it's a great resource for those of you that are interested, or maybe you've never even heard of WeVideo. Here's a great intro to WeVideo and the things that you can do there. So big shout out to them, because they do some great stuff. And again, Jennifer, like I said, she is not only an innovator, book illustrator. She is the green screen queen, or one of the green screen queens that are out there. So, and of course and we know Bruce also. Bruce, he's got a book coming out too as well. So Bruce told me to tell you hi, and he goes, I hope you guys don't do any gag, what is it, GAG Ohio or Eric Kurtz jokes without him. But we
you said it. I was
yeah, we're very quiet about that until, let me see, I believe he had sent something. Okay, here we go. So I want to give a big shout out to Bruce and Eric Kurtz for just being an amazing person altogether. But I just wanted to share that right there. So there's Jen, Bruce, and Eric Kurtz. And Eric, if you're ever watching the show and you'd like to come on, I would love to have you here as a guest, just so you can just share your story and share anything that you like with our audience.
I feel like we just need to explain that Bruce Riker, we love him, but he's an Eric Kurtz fanboy. Yeah. He loves Eric Kurtz to the extreme. And it's just, that's where that comes from. So I like to tease him about it because, hey, I'm middle school. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Also, Fonz, I need to tell you that the feelings are so mutual. Okay. So you're like saying all these nice things, but it runs both ways. All right. It runs both ways. So, yeah. I think the only other thing I want to make sure that I get out there is about the book.
Yes, yes, of course.
So the name of the book is Coding to Kindness. And it's a children's book, obviously, because I illustrated it. So there's lots of pictures, but it's all about Grace and Ada and Dorothy, named after famous computer scientists, only as little girls, and they would encounter problems like one of them lost their soccer ball. So you would have to code to get the girl back to the soccer ball so she could bring it back to her friends and play. So there's like it almost looks like a grid, and then you'd have to use the arrow like commands to like move the character from one to the other. So it's kind of a cool way not only to introduce coding to like very young children, but the fact that it's kind of like girl centric, it's like all the things that I love. So I got to draw. So it's art. Yes. So it's art and it's computer science and it's girl power and it's like little kids. It's like all my favorite things all together. And I don't know if my school librarians know this, but I'm totally buying copies for all of them and they're getting it whether they like it or not.
There you go. You get a book. You get a book.
Everybody gets a book. Yeah. And my mom will probably buy another 500 copies because moms.
Exactly.
So yeah, that will be available on it will be available on Amazon.
And there's Valerie right there. She's saying, Oprah, there you go.
Hey.
Oh no, well that is awesome. So look at that. This is amazing. And like you said, it's just, with your passion that you bring and, right from the get-go as far as education is concerned, and then the passion, so like you said, we kind of get beat down sometimes in the classroom, but then Innovator just pumped you up and you just felt so inspired. And now, you're making changes in your career, doors are opening up, opportunities are coming. And that's just something that is wonderful. And I'm so happy for you, Jennifer, and all the things that you're doing, like I said. And, thank you so much also for saying that, the feelings are mutual, because, I definitely respect you and all your work that you do. And, I just, I felt that this is a great platform for you to be on, to just share yourself with the world and, with all our audience, and just be able to see how really laid back, cool you are. And that, maybe someday all they can connect with you as well. And, maybe just get some tips, tricks, or, say, hey, I want you to Gordon Ramsay my library, come over here and then see what you can do.
I'm happy to tell everyone that they suck. No, not really.
No. Hey, and I know Valerie's here too. Valerie, if you guys ever want to come on the show, once your book is out, you are completely invited. You guys have a seat here on My EdTech Live. So definitely come by. You can promote your book here and tell us a little bit more about it too, as well as, this, like I said, we want to connect educators. We want to connect people all together, even though it's one show at a time, but we'll get there. We'll connect everybody to our wonderful PLF, which I kind of changed it. I call it my professional learning family, because after you're on the show and after I follow you on Twitter, I really consider every single one of you family, because I really either look up to you and I'm learning from you. And so that, to me, that's just family right there, So thank you guys. And, Thank you, everybody, for your support. And Jen, awesome having you here. Very exciting. And guess what? I got an email from the Postal Service. Stickers should be on their way, like from your ResetEDU. I wish I had them here so I can share them. But I was wondering, Jen, if you don't mind, normally I pick a couple of winners, I put out a form and, I give them some of my EdTech Life stickers here. Yeah. I don't know, maybe you'd like to say, hey, maybe add a sticker or two to the pack.
I just got them in, my new buttons.
Oh, nice.
So I will need to send you another, because I put stickers in the mail for you, but now I just got buttons. So I'll send a bunch.
Awesome.
A swag bag.
There you go. So that's what we do. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and put that link there to that Google form for you guys. So you can go ahead, we'll pick some winners and then I'll get that info to Jen as well. And, I don't know, Jen, anything else, any other projects that you've got going on?
Oh,
what
Lord.
Don't you have going on?
What do I not have going on? I'm like, after I get off with you, I gotta, we have like our Teacher Institute week coming up. So I've got stuff for that to do. I've got a friend of mine. Oh yeah, I was a finalist for Illinois State Teacher of the Year this year. So one of my friends,
no big deal.
So one of my friends, Lindsay, who is a past State Teacher of the Year 2018, she's having me do some PD for her district. So I'm getting pulled a lot of different places, but it's like a good problem to have, I'm so busy. That, and then of course all of the work with Fried Technology. Yeah.
Amy was here, Fried fan right here too.
So that too. So just tons and tons of PD. But I always tell people, no matter what, never hesitate to reach out. I genuinely love to help people. So at message me, send me a message. If I can help and I'm not 50 different directions, I will reply, because I genuinely want to help people. So I always tell them, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm serious.
Perfect. Awesome, Jennifer. Well, again, it's a pleasure. Thank you, audience members. I appreciate you making time out of your day to just come check out my EdTech Live, check out these wonderful educators, passionate educators that, like Jennifer said, you can reach out. They're always there to help or offer suggestions or share ideas or even possibly collaborate. And again, just connecting educators one show at a time. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And I did put a link there to our Wakelet collection, which has all of our live shows. So you'll find all the videos there. You'll find all the podcasts there. Go ahead and give us a like on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we're also going to have some the amazing guests just, keep coming each and every weekend. So guys, just follow us. You'll get some amazing content and you'll meet some amazing educators doing some wonderful things that are out there that you can go ahead and connect with. So thank you so much, Jen. Pleasure. Till next time. And again, you'll always have a seat available for you here on my EdTech Live at any time. So next thing that you've got coming up, which is the book, and then whatever great things you're doing after the book too as well, you're always welcome to come and share here on my EdTech Live. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. You all take care. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.